What a beautiful morning it is. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Whoops. All right. So I can't do a long one today. I have to head to the studio. I have some things to do, and I have to get up to um, Cindy's house. Her daughter is going off to college tomorrow, so we're having a little send-off dinner and stuff. So going up for that. But there's a couple of things I want to let you know about. But I'll wait until people come in before that. So if you're watching the archived version of it, by all means, skip ahead. Because I don't know what I'm going to say to fill time until people start joining. Connie has joined us. Good morning, Connie. Good morning, Russell. All right, so we've got some people in here, so I can start with the announcements. So, for those of you who were coming or planning on coming to the September 16th Peter Carmichael show at the Farnsworth House, I have to reschedule that. I have a personal matter to tend to. It's nothing for concern. It's actually a very good personal matter, but it is going to eat up a lot of my free time, and so I was like, okay, well, that's a Saturday, and Saturdays are important because the other person it involves is only available on weekends, so Saturdays are vital days to get these things done. I'll tell you what it is once it's happened. But again, like I said, it's nothing serious. It's nothing bad. Well, it's serious, but it's not bad serious. It's a very good serious. So we're going to reschedule it for somewhere indoors during the winter. I don't know where yet, but I do have a few, I've had a few discussions with some venue owners about doing shows there. And we came up with some pretty good deals so that the ticket prices could remain lower. With gas going up, with inflation not really doing anything, I think it's important that we try to ease the pain as much as we can, even though I'll be honest, it causes me more pain because, we're not taking in as much. But I think it's worth it to keep everybody coming and to keep everybody, interested in what we're doing and keep us interested in what we're doing. It's good to connect with the audience. I like doing these live shows because you get to see everybody. You get to, pardon me, I had to take a drink. You get to see their faces, hear their laughter, hear their jeering and their cheering and their sneering when you say certain things. It's nice to see them interacting with each other, meeting the guest, getting books signed or whatever the case may be, depending on who the guest is. So that charges me and keeps me wanting to do this, because it's like, how can I liken this to? It's crazy glued to your shoulders, and your job is to carry that boulder and keep a cheerful disposition, be entertaining, be informative, be on top of things, but you've got this boulder on you 24/7. That's kind of like what this is like, and that's true. There's always a point in the month where I'm like, you know what, F this, I'm done. But then I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I really can't do anything else. I don't want to do anything else. I'm not good at anything else. And I love doing this, even with the boulder on my shoulder. And so I continue to do it. And one of the things that recharge me are the Get Out of the Car tours and the live shows that we do. And I say live shows, I don't mean live streams like AG Today, although that does too, but anything where we interact with the audience. I think that's why I'm always bidding on AG Today. Hey, come on, like, call in. We have phone lines, but people would rather type. You can still listen to the show when you call in. And I think it makes for a better show to have the audience involved vocally as opposed to fingerly or digitally. Digitally works both ways, doesn't it? But yeah, so these things are good. So we're going to do them. I'm just going to put them off until the winter. And to be honest, there's two things that went against this one working. One is this private matter was kind of sprung upon us unexpectedly about 2 weeks ago. And after talking about, well, okay, how are we going to do? When are we going to do? What are we going to do? I was like, you know what? I think it would be best if I open up this Saturday here. So we have the Get Out of the Car tour the morning of September 16th. We're still going to do that. I'll still be there for that. But then after that, we're going to have to deal with what we're dealing with. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if we were doing the show that night. So that's one reason. The other reason is I kind of lost track of time. And normally for a show like that, I would have put the tickets out in June, like June 1st at the latest. But I didn't really have an idea of what to do or if we were going to do it. And then I was like, yeah, you know what, let's do it. But I decided that like mid-July, and I didn't really put out the tickets until it was either end of July or beginning of August. And so it wasn't enough time. I haven't been promoting it. I got too much going on. That's kind of knocked me off kilter there. So we all decided, okay, well, let's put this off till winter time, and let's use the coming months to plan and promote that properly. And I think you're going to like it. Not better, but I think you're going to like what we have in mind. It'll still be P. Carmichael. Just where it's going to be has not been determined yet. So just keep that in mind. Just want to let you know, if you go to the website today, I don't think Mike Stretch has updated it yet, but I sent him a request to update it with verbiage similar to what I just told you. And so if you go there and you click on the link to book, it's going to go to a dead link. I've already closed that off. If you bought tickets, you should have received your refund this morning with an explanation email as to why refunded. So you got a full refund there. Yeah, I think now, being that it's Friday, it might not be another week before you see the refund, but you have a confirmation email. I can see in my refund reserve that it is drained. So the refund process has begun, and there you go. Thank you for purchasing the tickets, and yeah, just keep it in mind when the tickets go on sale for the winter events. Here's a question I have for all of you. For those of you who make it out to these things, do you think it would be too much if we did maybe one a month during the winter? And I mean January, February, March. Would that be too much for you? I know we see a lot of the same faces at these events, but when they're once a quarter, that's a little easier on you guys. But would it be too much if it's once a month? Like, I know a lot of the same people obviously wouldn't be able to come to them. My question is, and this might be something we just have to try, are there enough new people who haven't been to one before, who want to come to one, who would come and make it worth our while? What I'm thinking of doing is using smaller venues with a limit of maybe 50 or 60 to see if we could even sell those once a month as kind of an experiment, or not. Maybe once in January, once in March, something like that, or maybe truly once a quarter. I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Or here's an option too. Don't do them anymore. I mean, I love to do them, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of lugging stuff around. I don't have a production crew. So, I'm producer, director, writer, host, and roadie all at the same time. So that's a lot of work for me. And it's, I don't have to do them. So those are the options. Do them once a month over the winter, once a quarter throughout the year, or none at all. So that's what I would like to know, what you guys think. All right, let's see. Hi from New Hampshire. Hi from Long Island. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Dustin. Barbara's here. Party has begun. Fraser says, good morning. Michael, 6 questions. Lance, oh, I like that. You added 6 questions in there. Good morning. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Matt, says Michael Stump. Late start to the day. Yes, I was playing with Major until she got tired to take a nap. I feel bad, if she's all riled up and wanting to play. I feel bad putting her in her cage to go to work and everything like that. And so today's kind of my day off. I usually have Fridays off, so I have a little bit of wiggle room. So I said, you know what, I'm going to play with her and tucker her out so she's not in a cage with all this unbridled energy that I think is just cruel. Will this personal development impact the Get Out of the Car tour in September? No, it will not, Mike. The Get Out of the Car tour is still going. It's just the show. There's no work on my end. My work for the Get Out of the Car tour is already done. So that morning I need to show up. I need to say hi to everybody, et cetera, et cetera. But pardon me, the tour itself, I might not go to lunch, but we'll still do lunch, or I might go to lunch and eat real quick and then run out. Next time I see you, I'll tell you what's going on. I don't want to put it out there in public just yet. I'll wait until it's done. Sometimes you don't want to say things publicly until it's either almost a certainty or it's finished. Because then if it's good news and big news, but then something happens and the rug is pulled out from under you and it doesn't occur, then you feel like and look like a stooge. So some things I like to keep close to the vest until it's a done deal. Peter says, good morning. Wish I lived closer to hit up these tours. Well, Peter, get yourself a Learjet. And that way you can just up and leave anytime you'd like. Good day, Tim. How are you? 6 questions says, I think doing it once a month through the winter might be a lot more work for you in peak recording season. Oh, that's a great point, Mike. Thank you. I always love more events, but it might stretch you to exhaustion. That is a great point because we are recording a lot. So maybe once a quarter then, unless the overwhelming answer from everybody is just stop doing them. It was fun while it lasted, but you've worn out your welcome. Peter says, I get the notifications for you kind of late. It seems 5 to 10 minutes before I know it's streaming. Yeah, I don't know why or how YouTube works regarding that. I don't know, because I know that when we go live for AG Today, and everybody has their phones out, some people have pointed out, I just got my notification. But we were all in there. We all heard Colby go, okay, we're live. And yet it takes a while to get out there. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's on purpose. I don't know if that's just because internet is relatively instantaneous, but it's not actually instantaneous. I don't really know. But I've heard that before and I've witnessed it myself. So it's a good point. Okay, let's do a little driving around here because I got to get in and do some things. We're going to stop at the stop sign. It's important to stop at stop signs. Apparently, according to the news last night on the show, Debbie pointed out that I think this is National Stop Sign Awareness Month or some stupid bullshit like that. How stupid are we in this country that we need a Stop Sign Awareness Month or whatever the hell it's called? Like, really, I think I'm going to go to the Emmitsburg Road. Once I cross it, we'll be going into the Confederate lines. And then we're going to go behind the Confederate lines. We're going to take a nice scenic drive around the area. Dustin Wise with the $10 donation for gas. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. right, we're crossing it, and so far, so good. Looks like they're doing some work down the road a bit there. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that's so funny, Dustin. I was going to say, that bought me a gallon. Yeah, $10. You know, we joke, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're headed there in like 5 years, you know? All right, now, there's the Warfield house on the left, and I always forget the name of the house on the right. Let's see if there's a sign. I never noticed if there was a sign out here. No sign. I looked it up once and I completely forgot it, because you never really hear anybody talk about it, you know, which is super cray-cray. All right, we're gonna go across here. Now we're behind the Confederate lines. Ooh, ooh. To the left is the Eisenhower farm, behind this white fence here. It's a really nice place if you've ever been out there, if you have a chance to get out there. I would suggest you do it. So I don't know, yesterday I told you, those of you who watched it, I told you about the subscription side of YouTube that we're about to launch that was approved by YouTube. So that means that when I get to the office, I'm going to actually launch it, and you'll be able to subscribe to our YouTube. Now, if you do, I need to build up subscribers for, I'm going to say, about a month. I'll still do stuff on there, because I think, see, the problem with YouTube is like, it's like sometimes when you read it, it's like, it must be what it's like to read Martian, because like I don't understand techie nerd talk, and they come up with these new words and new phrases that mean very simple things that there have been old words and old phrases for. I'm turning into an old man, I know, is really what it is. But anyway, so it will work until they approve it, and then you launch it. So what I'm saying is, in the first month or two, I'm going to probably be feeling around blind. And so, you know, if you subscribe, give me a little bit of leeway there to figure out how it actually works. I might have to make an adjustment here and there as to, you know, maybe what benefits what each level gets or whatever. But just bear with me, because it's a growing pain and a what do you call it for me there? So, you know, just stick around. We'll get it figured out. But what I'm really looking forward to is when we record Ask a Guides. Those will be live streamed to the colonel level. There's 3 levels: major, lieutenant colonel, colonel. And the colonels will be able to, what do you call it? Ask a guide via the comment section. What would be the other thing they would do? Oh, yeah, either via the comment section, or I'll set up the phone line and you can call in and ask the guide directly, because I'm sure you're going to have a follow-up question. And so I think that will make for a better show. I think it's a new element to add to the show, so it'll kind of give it a fresh feel. Now patrons, things are still going to be the same for you. You're going to be the foundation of the questions section without having to go over to YouTube, because you're paying the same amount as the colonel is on Patreon. So I'm going to try to figure that out. There's got to be a way to do it. I'm not a techie person, so it takes me a while to figure this stuff out, because I don't know any techie people who do this stuff. So I have to kind of watch a lot of YouTube videos or just kind of play around and figure it out myself, because the way I do things, of course, I can't do things the way everybody else does. I have to do it my own stupid way, and that's not the way everybody does things, so therefore that's not the way all these platforms are set up. So you say, well, Matt, why don't you just conform? Well, that's been the question my entire life that everybody's asked. Matt, why don't you just conform? And because it depresses me, that's why. Delicious iced tea from Bantam Roasters. I got 2 of them because I knew I'd go through the first one rather quickly. And with that swig, I have. So now we start the second one. Peter said, on last night's show, I spit out my drink when talking about the Amish. At what year did they stop? Well, yeah. That's like, seriously, what year did they stop? I feel like it's like the 1850s. But at what point did they say, no more of this? We're comfortable where we are. Or was it that the Amish didn't exist prior to a certain time, and when they were founded, or whatever the word may be, they said, this is how we will keep things forever and ever, amen. I don't know. I don't know the history of the Amish. So I'm very curious as to what point they stopped. When do we press pause? I have used that line on an Amish individual before during an afternoon. And what was the answer? Barbara tuned in late yesterday, missed first half hour of drive, couldn't find the video to replay it. Did you not repost it? So I deleted it immediately, and the reason why is I got a YouTube, it wasn't a strike. I for those of you who watched yesterday, it wasn't a strike. It was a warning, but you only get one warning. It was a warning that I had violated their Rona policy by speaking my mind, and so they removed the day before, the video from the day before. They removed that and then sent me a warning, and so I didn't know they had a Rona policy yet, because the rest of the world seems to have moved on from it. I mean, the federal government isn't yelling to wear masks anymore. The states are all open. Everything's back to normal. There are no, whatever. So I just assumed that YouTube's policy had, changed with the times. But apparently they're still operating under 2020 rules. So I didn't know that. And so yesterday I was telling everybody about it, and I printed out their rules, their policy, to read just some of the absurd parts. Well, actually, the whole thing is absurd. But because, I was poking the bear, I immediately deleted it because I didn't want, an actual strike. Apparently, you get 3 strikes and then your whole account is removed. So now, I don't know if there's an algorithm that listens to every video and listens for keywords, and then that tips off a human being, and then they review it and decide to remove it or not. I'm not sure exactly how that works, or if it's a viewer who flagged it and reported it because, as the British say, they're a twat. I don't know. But either way, it is chilling. As I read the policy, I made sure to park and zoom in on the graves in the National Cemetery. Just in case you were for that draconian stuff. Just to remind you of what had to happen for us to throw it all away. Peter Zach says, doing 18th century living history and seeing Amish looking at us funny, I yelled, "We got you beat over here." Again, they didn't like that. But what are they? So nobody has an answer to this. Apparently, we Googled it on the show last night, and if someone found an answer, they didn't jump in and give us the answer. But yeah, I don't know. Next time I see an Amish person in town, I will ask them. I will say, excuse me, George. Well, what's that you got? What's that you're spreading on your bread? And he'd be like, oh, this? Well, this is a little butter I made out of peanuts. And then I will reveal that my name was Robert Skippy Jones. And I was with my friend, Tom Jiff Peterson. Does anyone know what that's from? I didn't do it well or verbatim, but does anybody recognize that? So I'll show you if you, so here, oh, we got a sign that we put on the window, the door, excuse me, of the building where our studio is. And so, if you're ever in the area and you cross the studio, stop and take a picture of yourself next to the door and put it on your social media, hashtag addressing Gettysburg, and people will think you're really cool. And that is a scientific fact. That is a scientific fact. Amish date back to the late 16th, early 17th century as an organized sect founded on principles of Menno Simons, who rejected infant baptism. So he rejects infant baptism and you can't have electricity? That's cray-cray. Arnold says it was very powerful with the monuments in the forefront. Well, thank you very much. I thought it would be. Donald says the Amish did not stop at a certain year. Basically, they can't be connected to the world. Have some solar for batteries and work cell phones. Others choose not to use anything. Yeah, I know. There's like certain ones that kinda, sorta dip their pinky toe into the modern world, and then there's others that don't. There's something really charming about the whole rejecting the modern world thing. Barbara says, my nephew lives in Lancaster. I think some Amish use cell phones. Yes, and many ride in the back. Yes. I see that around here. There's like an Amish shed place, and the guy who owns it, the guy who owns it is English, as they say, and he hires them, or maybe he's partnered with them or whatever, but I often see them in trucks, and not just the shed people, but other people. The Amish have so many variations, it's tough to follow. They are shady up here in New York. They've been selling historical barns and stone walls to rich people in New England and downstate. What do you mean historical barn? You mean barns that are made to look like they're old, but they're brand new? And same with the stone walls? Rich Snyder, Southern York County has a large Amish population as well. They are kind people. Yeah, I've only spoken with a few. Typically, I think that's Colby behind me. Yeah, that's Colby. Typically, when I see them, they seem to be very unwilling to talk to anybody. They're not, hey, how you doing type people. But there have been a few conversations I had where I found them to be very nice and very normal. It wasn't like talking to someone from another time. There it is. There's the sign. Look at that, right on the door. See? All right. Michael says, when did it start rejecting it? When did it start rejecting what? When did what start rejecting what? The Amish use cell phones to do business in the English world, but aren't supposed to use smartphones. Well, aren't we splitting hairs there? See, that's the problem with mankind. We set up these rules until, we don't want to follow them anymore. And then we're like, okay, well, you can do a little bit. And then a little bit doesn't do it anymore. And it's like, all right, fine, smartphones are okay, but you can't have a laptop. And then it's like, well, if I'm going to do business with the English, I need to be able to do this, and there's no mobile version. Okay, fine. You can only use the laptop for that, and you can't get a super fast laptop because then you might play video games. And then suddenly you discover a video side of started talking about it, and he showed you on his computer, and you're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. Just join us, Amish. Just join us. I think we should elect an Amish president. Let's see. The Amish are taking actual historic barns on property they buy and take them apart and sell them. Same with the stone walls. That's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. The two groups were recruited in the early 18th century to populate Pennsylvania by William Penn. Ah, okay. That's why our drinking laws are so strange. Good morning, Karen. Have a great day, she says. By the way, what time do these drives begin? Whenever I feel like it, Karen. If you click the notification bell, I'm sure you've subscribed, but if you click the notification bell, you should get a notification. But as someone was saying earlier, sometimes it's already like 10 minutes in progress when they get their notification. And I wonder, now that it dawns on me, I wonder if they do that on purpose so that there's a not constant, but there's a periodic influx of viewers throughout, as opposed to telling everybody at once and then 10 people come in and nobody else comes in for the rest of the talk or the video. I don't know. Google's very secretive about things. They don't tell you how things work. They just tell you when you F up. And they make it look like they're about fairness, but they're really not. And so who knows? But yeah, but they do. There are certain things they do that actually are helpful. And that might be one of them where if you're getting a notification 10 minutes after a live stream starts, it might be because they're trying to keep a fresh feed of people coming in. I don't know. The thing with cell phone ban by the Amish relates to their fear of being photographed. They have a respect for a biblical ban of graven images, which they interpret as being photographic. It's interesting because I know the Native Americans used to, or probably still, well, no, they're photographed all the time now, but that's the way they felt about the photograph, that it captures your soul. And in a way, I think, if you look at the way Western or American society, especially, but Western society has gone since the invention of the camera, I think they're right. It steals your soul. I mean, if we're not living in the most soulless version of our society that we've ever heard of, and perhaps, lived through, at least what we've lived through. Well, those of you who lived through the 60s probably. No, I think the majority of people still had souls back then. But now it's just like we've lost it, or it's dormant, or I don't know what it is. But so, I mean, maybe there's something to that. Just think about it. And I don't mean like our actual soul, but I mean, the more ubiquitous cameras have become, the more easily you can disseminate images to the public, the more soulless everything feels, and people behave in more soulless ways. I just had a conversation last night about some people, who I used to know, and the how do you explain it? The switch from hot to cold, and not just cold, but vicious and malicious and passive aggressive on their part, has been soulless. It has been low character, low class, low everything. And people notice it, and people come to me and they're like, what is up with that? And I just feel like, the internet makes it easy to just move around throughout life. Like you can, it's hard to explain. I don't know how to explain it, but like it just makes it easier to be bad, I guess. And, because in many ways you're encouraged to. You get more likes, you get more clicks, you get more action. So it encourages people to be bad. It encourages people to put negative stuff out there. So maybe the Indians were right. The camera steals our soul. They were being poetic. They weren't being literal. And they were being, what's the word? They were predicting it. What's the word I'm looking for? Well, you know what I'm saying. Michael, yeah, you do have to, when you subscribe, there's a little bell next to the subscribe button with a line through it. You've got to press that, and that will enable notifications for when our channel goes live. Not all of your subscriptions, just the one, you got to do it per channel you subscribe to. I think most people know that, but in case you don't, that's one thing you need to do. Kevin says, yes, Matt, the Amish Mennonite community have many redeeming qualities that would serve modern society well. I agree. Too bad they don't let you come and live with them and become one. Like, it's kind of insulated. But I guess if you got something good, you got something good. But I've heard horror stories, too, that are, out of Ohio, horror stories out of Pennsylvania. But again, we're dealing with human beings and we're dealing with religion. So when you mix the two, often there's a horror story or two to be heard. So I get that. Dustin, thanks for the drive. Have a good weekend. I look forward to signing up for your new YouTube subscription. Dustin is a mensch, ladies and gentlemen, if I may borrow from the Germans. And thank you for that, Dustin. And actually, let me get going. I didn't realize it's almost 11:30. I got to get home, showered, pack up the pup, and head on up to Cindy's house. So you guys have yourself a great day and a magnificent weekend. All right? I'm saying magnificent. Not just great, not just good. A magnificent weekend. And if there's something going on worth sharing, I will come on. If not, I'll see you on Monday. Take care of yourselves. And to quote the great Jerry Springer, the real American hero, the man who's responsible for the greatness of this country and each other. Bye-bye now. Wasn't that funny? His stupid final thought, and the last thing he would say is, take care of yourselves and each other. After he just had guests on who cheated on each other and ended up ripping each other's wigs off and beating each other in the face. And he has the nerve to say to the audience that tunes into that, take care of yourselves and each other. What an asshole. Rest in peace, Jerry. Goodbye, everybody.